information coming up in the next segment. Gerald Celente is with us for another 5 minutes. I appreciate him spending so much time with the Infowars.com family. Gerald, you were on fire there. You know what's incredible is they've hired a lot of sociopaths now, and I see the police now have an article at Infowars.com, Gerald, saying that they're now charging people resisting arrest that if they start beating you with a billy club, you do not cover your face, and they're charging people who are in fetal positions now. That's resisting. So, I mean, it's just like they're trying to put people in life in prison for videotaping cops in public in Illinois. We have a criminal government, and now the bankers that own it are going to steal everybody's bank accounts. And even though the cops are going to lose everything, I predict just because of the uniform and the power trip, a lot of them are going to go ahead and enjoy it and thank their masters. The good ones are just going to get out, which is part of the plan, so it's a pure army of evil. I mean, I don't see how, if they put criminals in every position where they can just publicly do all of this, the sky is the limit. I mean, this is so incredible. It's so clear, Gerald, that Homeland Security has been set up so the banksters can carry out this orderly gang rape.
You know, Alex, remember the one thing. People don't like to get it in the pocketbook. It becomes a gut issue, an empty gut issue. Everyone out there that's listening, if you know a cop, let them know that they're not going to be getting their pensions if things continue the way they are. And the people that are protesting are the ones that are going to save their pensions. So just let them know. The other thing, too, of course, I've been getting warnings. Watch for the 3 or 4 a.m. raid because they're out to get to take me out. And then finally, what I really want to make a point on this, Alex, and drive it home. This release we sent out, those CME group guarantees, there are no guarantees. Again, it's not the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. It appears from what they've written here that the correct abbreviation for CME is the Chicago Mafia Enterprise. Because here's what Duffy, the vice chairman of that company, says. I want to make this 100% clear to everyone so you know how you're going to get shafted when it hits you. Quote, no customer has ever lost a penny as a result of a clearing member default. More than a penny's been lost. Number one. Number two, quote, since we are the guarantor of every transaction that happens in our markets, we have to guarantee the performance of each and every one of these contracts. To do this, we hold more than $100 billion of collateral to support the transactions that are being done on our markets. Where's the money? Where's the guarantee? I say either Duffy, put it up, or you don't have it. Oh, and you cops out there that are beating up people for resisting arrest, how about going after Corzine?
Well, they're bought and paid for. Let me throw this in closing, and obviously we'll get an update from you, Gerald, tomorrow. If you can do it, you've been very gracious with your time. I want to expand on this. You're not going to commit suicide. I'm not going to commit suicide. They could send SWAT teams in and say you resisted. So are you getting threats, or are you getting warnings, or both? What's happening?
Mostly warnings. Mostly warnings. Watch for the 3 a.m. raid, because that's when they like to do it. When you're deep in sleep and your equilibrium is off. Yeah, there's no suicide in this guy's life. No. They're going to come after us, Alex. The white shoe boys don't like, the money junkies don't like anybody messing with to take their fix away from them. So things are going to get worse before they get better. And as I said, everyone out there, you know a cop, let them know they're going to get that baton where they're not going to like it.
All right, Gerald Celente, TrustResearch.com. Thank you. Jesse Ventura, straight ahead. Stay with us. With you, ladies and gentlemen, it's pretty creepy to have the New York Times saying my film, The Obama Deception, is responsible for the guy that shot the White House, when all I do is point out that Obama's a puppet and the two-party system's become a fraud. Or that 4 Forbes has come out and blamed myself and Gerald Celente, saying we're going to cause runs on banks when mega brokerage firms are taking people's private accounts, and CNN admits it's destroying confidence. It's still somehow our fault. It is so creepy. I'm going to get Governor Ventura's take on that a lot more. He joins us to give us the latest on his fight. Really, it's all of our fight for due process, for the 10th Amendment, for the 4th Amendment. With the TSA now expanding out, they have announced, and I did confirm, we had a tip last week, they are going to be in Mall of America starting next February. And you'll see this announced in the news probably in January. But I have talked to insiders at Mall of America. TSA has put out press releases, video press releases, showing them in malls and at football games, NFL football games with the Buccaneers. And those articles are all posted with the videos at Infowars.com. But I'll get Governor Ventura's take on that. He lives up there, so I wonder, he can't go to the mall now. They're also putting in Jumbotron telescreens saying don't trust anybody but Big Sis. So we've got that happening. We're going to get Governor Ventura's take on the protests, not just here, but overseas. Egyptian military justifies murder of protesters by pointing to American cops. That's an actual headline. Here's another one that breaks it down. Curling up in a ball to avoid police violence may be considered active resistance. They've got a police commander here on tape who defended police that beat people in field positions in the head with batons and sprayed them with pepper spray, as saying that is resistance to curl up. If you raise an arm to block when they billy club you, that is resistance. I mean, this is so comical now. It's like, what's that case we saw? Life in prison for filming police in Illinois. Now, I got thrown out of court, but the point is they keep trying it. Governor Jesse Ventura, best-selling author, obviously, hit TV show, Conspiracy Theory, new season almost complete, being shot, coming up next year. Jesse, what is it like for you, Governor, I mean, I feel like I've woken up in the Twilight Zone. What do you think's going on?
Let me add this from your initial comments of them blaming you and blaming people that take things to the public. That's an old standard ploy. That's called kill the messenger, not the message.
Yeah.
You know, where they don't want to talk about what you're saying. They just want to go after you for saying it. And that's a typical ploy. And, you know, I don't know. I'd like to think people are smarter than that. I'd like to think people see through nonsense like that, where when there is a whistleblower, when they attack a whistleblower, well, if there was no information to give, there wouldn't be whistleblowers. If there wasn't bad things going on, there wouldn't be whistleblowers. So, you know, just buckle up on that. That's the old standard ploy, kill the messenger, not the message, and how they can possibly blame you and people like you who simply, you know, put out information. Hey, if your information's untrue, well, then it'll be untrue and it'll come out through the wash being untrue. But if it is true, then how can, you know, I wouldn't worry about it.
No, I agree, Governor, but it's just like the national media turned it around against you when you stood up for our 10th and 4th Amendment. When you did what you did, they pretty much unanimously attacked you because they know over 90% of people agree with you. They're scared. Even if they make us respond, they now get us off the offensive and exposing them. I agree. It's just still totally creepy and weird that, you know, headline, Forbes magazine, talk show host Alex Jones and guest call for bank runs. No, we pointed out that they've taken now over $1.2 billion of people's private accounts at MF Global, with the former New Jersey governor Corzine running it, and Goldman Sachs and all of them involved. And then you come out and talk about it and say, boy, I guess your money's not safe in the bank. And then they turn it around. It just shows they have nothing but contempt for the public. And I agree with you, Governor. I think people are starting to wake up. I think people are really starting to see through it because the baloney has gotten so thick.
I don't know. I'd like to hope so. But, you know, I'm doing a lot of interviews again dealing with my court case. And I'm still getting a lot of resistance of people with this attitude, well, we haven't been attacked now in 10 years, so it's a good thing what they're doing at airports. It's a good thing that we're frisking down 95-year-old women and taking their depends. It's a good thing when we're grabbing in the crotches of little children because, after all, it's keeping us all safe and we haven't been attacked again. And, I mean, these are the people, I don't know if it's the fluoride in the water or what has done it to them, but, you know, they're doing exactly what Ben Franklin warned when Ben Franklin, warned us to be free and be made safe. People need to understand that that was the great thing about our country, was this Bill of Rights and Constitution that allow you to come here and not be oppressed by government. Yes, it makes you dependent upon yourself. You have to have self-reliance to achieve, but that's good. And for our country to lose that, well, then we're nothing special anymore. And we're losing it because we're allowing judges and we're allowing the judicial system and our elected system and our executive branch to literally trample and destroy the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And these candidates that you have out there, you know, that claim they're constitutional and this and that, well, on the Republican side, in my opinion, half of them are delusional because they're sitting here telling us God told them to run. And anybody that makes that statement to me, I look at them like they're insane because they obviously are, you know, have voices in their heads. You know, a lot like one of my conspiracies I'm looking into this year is the fact that are they doing that to people? Are they putting, you know, sounds and words and thoughts into people's minds? That's one of our conspiracies. Well, maybe the answer is true. Maybe they're doing it to half of the Republican candidates.
Well, you know, they have patented back in the 50s systems where they can...
tongue-in-cheek and sarcastic. So
sure, I understand, but you know, they do have systems, as I know you're going to cover in the show, since the 50s. In Japan, they have Coke machines, that you know, soft drink machines that actually broadcast directly to the inner ear, and it turns out governments have used those in tests to try to drive people crazy. But the public's in a trance, and some of them that have woken up feel powerless. So they go ahead and say, who cares? In fact, I'll briefly tell you a story. I was at the Grand Canyon yesterday, Governor, and 14 years ago I'd been there and shown how our land had been signed over to the UN as collateral to the big banks, just like they've done in Greece and places. So I went back to the visitor center to show the plaque. They've torn down the old visitor center, built a giant sprawling complex, but there's the plaque still. And I start shooting a video. 1 minute in, a guy walks up with a blues windbreaker on with American flags and stuff all over it. And he stops. There's nobody around me. I'm out there in the parking lot. He stops while I'm shooting a video 1 minute in. It's up on YouTube right now. And he says, hold on, honey. I got to see what this guy's saying. And he goes, oh, this guy needs to shut up. You know, I want to take a photo of this. And he steps in front of me because he didn't like hearing me talk about the UN and the global banks. He didn't want to believe that America was in trouble. He saw me as unpatriotic for wanting to defend my country. He thinks patriotism is just being a mindless idiot. What'd you say, Gov?
I said he believes patriotism is going along to get along.
Yes, that's it.
You know, and that's the worst thing. I mean, Tom Jefferson told us dissension is the greatest form of patriotism. I can tell you, in all my experience of being a mayor and a governor, they govern best when the public participates. They govern best when the public criticizes and puts them under the microscope. They govern worst when they're allowed to do what they want and the public becomes apathetic and the public doesn't care. That's when you will get your worst government. You get your best government when you hold their feet to the fire. And people better wake up to that. If they throw their hands up in the air and say, well, there's nothing I can do about it, well, that's exactly the reaction that they want you to do. You're playing right into their game when you do that.
You know, I saw a film a few months ago called The Conspirators, and it's basically a true story by Robert Redford about the trial after the killing of Lincoln at the Ford Theater. And I forget the name of the briefing, but callers have made that point. It's not popping in my head in a minute. But there is a system, and it's shown at the end of the film, Governor, where they go ahead and Stanton, the Secretary of Defense or War, goes ahead and orders the woman executed, even though she's been found not guilty by the military tribunal. And basically it's kicked up past the tribunal to a higher judge to call for another trial, but Stanton ignores that and hangs her. But they have the term there, and I looked it up in federal law. There is a way, even if that judge sat on that and claimed